Hello, everyone. Hope you're having the most incredible day. Welcome to our weekly live training here in Recover and Rise. Julie and I are super excited to be back with you here for another week. And this week, we're going to be talking all about how you can be of greater service in this world. And we're going to be talking about what service is not, some unhealthy ways that we may perceive is as serving the people that we love and the people that we want to be able to support in life. And then we're also going to be talking about what healthy service is and how we can actually up level the way that we bring service to the world. Hi, Dana. So happy you're on here with us. Hope that you're feeling better. And if you are on here live with us, put live in the comments, say hello. If you guys are on the replay, put replay in the comments. And if you are on either the YouTube or the podcast, then if you would like to join us in the community, you are more than welcome to join us in here. Hi, Julia.
Hi, my love, my glowing friend.
Always, it's the good lighting in here. Awesome. So today we're going to be talking all about service. And so this is going to be a live for you if you are really wanting to amplify the impact that you are making in the world while also kicking the burnout cycles. Who here has got caught in those cycles? Hi, Justin. Super happy you're on here. Who here has got caught in the cycles of burnout while trying to provide service to the world? Right? I think there's many of us who can relate to that. And Julie and I, when we were having a conversation yesterday, when we were talking about this live and how we could best serve all of you, we were like, this is definitely a topic that we want to be able to talk more into, because I know I'll share a little story with you all from when I was working as a paramedic. And this was about 4 years ago. And I was so excited that I was working as a paramedic. I absolutely loved my job. And who here has done something that they absolutely love, but then it just becomes all consuming and it just like takes over your whole entire life. And then eventually it becomes a detriment. That's kind of like what happened to me. And there was just these certain patterns that I had that wasn't even aware of at the time. And they led me to this place of burnout, and my body was just breaking down. I had a lot of severe IBS. My hormones were all over the place. My emotions were all over the place. I would just suppress, lots of stress, obviously in the job, plus relationships, all of these other things. And then I would just blow up and I would just feel like a crazy person. So I'm like, oh my gosh, all of these emotions. And I just didn't know how to actually handle my emotions that I had. And it impacted my relationship, like my sex life. It impacted everything in my life. And it actually is one of the big reasons that pivoted me into the holistic health field. But one of the big things that kind of led me to that point without me knowing about it was me constantly saying yes to things that I actually should have been saying no to. And some examples of that, and these are some kind of like what service is not. And even though I felt like it was good intentioned, it was actually the underlying where I was more listening to my mind and people pleasing opposed to actually listening to my body and what I emotionally needed in life. And so some examples of that would be like when the supervisor would call me last minute for a shift, and I would be like, yeah, for sure. Or you would have only 3 hours to call back. So I would feel guilty. And then I would call back because I didn't want to get in trouble. Right. So there was lots of kind of things that were leading to that. Or even after my relationship ended, just with men, and how it would kind of just pull me out of what I actually wanted to do unconsciously into these patterns. And it just ended up leading me into this place of burnout. And so there's lots of things that kind of happen to get us to that point, even though we may have good intentions in the moment of what we're doing, where I wanted to be able to help more because I loved my job and this and that. But in order for us to actually serve in a greater capacity, we have to learn how to do it in a sustainable way. And so that was one of the things that we wanted to come on here and chat with you a little bit more about today, was how to actually be of service, honoring ourselves so that we can then be able to be there present with the people that we love, whether that is our family, whether that's our friends, or whether that is in our chosen career. There are probably a lot of people in this group who are holding space for people or being present with people in their actual careers and public servant jobs and coaches, healers, entrepreneurs, all of these things. So it's definitely a big piece in there so we can maintain our well-being, so that we can continue providing the impact that we would like in the world.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Laura. Oh my goodness. Who here Who here wants to be of greater service to others? Type yes in the chat box. Let us know. Let us know how you want to help others. How do you want to serve other people? Is it that you want to build a big company? Is it that you want to create art? Is it that you want to just have deeper conversations with the people that you love? Is it that you want to, I don't know. Tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. Maybe you're in a public servant job like Laura was, and you want to just be able to be there for people more. Tell us how you see yourself being of greater service to others. And hopefully in this live, we'll be able to answer your questions. I think Laura has really already shared so much about, the importance of taking care of ourselves while we're being of service to people, the importance of listening to the body, otherwise the body breaks down, the importance of understanding what healthy service is and what unhealthy services. I have a little cold. You can hear it. So I'm going gentle today, but that's also part of being of service. It's just allowing myself to go gentle. So, Laura, you can chime in here as well. I'm just going to go over a little bit about what healthy service looks like and unhealthy service. Let's just talk about, and we can go back and forth here, what unhealthy service is. Unhealthy service, like what Laura was alluding to a little bit, is saying yes all the time, being available to people 24/7, being available when you don't want to be available, not having an ability to say no. I remember one of the greatest things one of my mentors gave me was, I asked her, are you free for a call? I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm suicidal. I feel like, oh my God, I need someone. I need someone. I need someone. And she just was like, no, period. No explanation. No, I feel sorry for you. I feel guilty. She just was like, no. And it was the best thing ever for me, because guess what happens when someone says no? All there is left is the mirror of yourself. And so I just had to take a moment to look in the mirror and to ask myself what was really going on. And it was the biggest way she could have been of service to me in that moment. How many of us would like to say no more so that we have more space for the things that we love? Me, me. I'd like to have more space for the things I love. I'd also love more space and more power when I am of service. And that's why saying no is so important, because if I'm not taking care of myself, the beeping again, if I'm not taking care of myself, if I don't have a morning routine, if I don't have time with loved ones, if I don't have time for connection, if I don't know my needs, and discovering my needs was something that I hugely gained out of going through Recover and Rise and, these deeper healing programs. But I didn't understand my needs. And because I didn't understand my needs, I, I was trying to fulfill other people's needs. And I was also not giving myself my needs. And so at the end of the day, I felt very resentful. And we all know what happens when resentment builds up. Do we all know what happens when resentment builds up? It totally kills our spirit. It kills our spirit. It kills our soul. It has us blow up in the middle of the day and to the people that we love. It has us not wanting to show up to work. So allowing ourselves that healing time, whether it's with Recover and Rise, with a loved one, with deeper trauma work, with all this stuff, allows us to really uncover what our needs look like. And then we get to communicate those needs with others. And when we do that, we have a greater capacity to be of service to others. Because if I'm empty all the time, if I'm operating from an empty cup, then there's no way I can hold space for someone. And holding space, Brian, thank you so much for bringing this up. Holding space means simply being present in a way that allows someone to be completely themselves. And really, I mean, there's so much magic when that happens. And I feel like holding space is one of the best ways to be of service. And it's so simple, yet so challenging for so many people, because we want to be a star in those situations, or we want to control the outcome, or we care about what people are thinking. And these are all the things that get involved. And it eliminates our ability to have these beautiful, transparent, open, honest, real conversations, kind of like what we're doing now, except I don't have someone in front of me talking back to me. I have Laura, but you know, it holding space. I mean, have you ever felt deeply listened to? I think a lot of people don't know what that feels like. And I
Mm,
know in my work, one of the things that, in our work, our line of work, the reason that this work is so powerful is that holding space and our ability to hold space determines how deep the transformation is. And so the deeper that I commit myself to holding space for myself and uncovering my darker shadows, uncovering my needs, uncovering my desires, uncovering, you know, my boundaries, my yes and my no, uncovering, you know, the things that I want to bring to the world and how I see myself being of service. All of these things are so important because the deeper that I go in myself, then I'm able to also hold that same space for other people. If I'm not comfortable with myself and someone says something that I'm not comfortable with, then I'm more likely to feel triggered or activated or want to get back at someone or want to speak over someone or maybe say something that might actually end up being hurtful. But the ability to maintain that level of presence and safety in that space has so much to do with how we treat ourselves. So that's really what I wanted to share here. Anything to add before we go into what healthy service looks like?
Um, did you want to go through the comments now? Just up until
Yeah.
now and then go through them at the end, or did you want to go through them all at the end?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions up until this point, we'll answer all the questions at the end, but maybe
Hmm.
we'll just jump in on some of the comments now. Dana, we love you. Yes, Dana went through last year's or this year's previous round of Recover and Rise. She said, I'm so thankful for having been through it because it taught me how to hold space for others. It helped me separate my feelings from the situation so I can be present and listen and understand. Yes,
Yes.
and when deep understanding takes place, miracles happen. Miracles, I'm telling you. Brian, to heal and love myself first so I can do that properly, but love helping and being of service to others. I've already built an online community as a founder. Oh, wow, before it collapsed. So working on a solid foundation first. Was that a physical collapse or a mental collapse? I'm curious. Feel free to share if you'd like to. If not, we can chat privately. Kenneth, I used to be burned out, especially last year. I'm slowly putting boundaries now at work and I'm letting go of things more now. Yes, I'm so proud of you, Kenneth. You've been doing such a great job. Great. Any questions up until now? Feel free to type in the chat, Laura, if you want to add anything. Otherwise, we can keep rolling.
Yeah, we can keep rolling.
Okay, great. Well, what does healthy service look like? What does healthy service look like? Let's just ask ourselves that same question. How do we see we want to help others? What would it look like to be able to hold space in a neutral way so that I can feel present and allow that person in front of me to transform or to see new possibilities for themselves? Leadership, whether you're coaching someone or building a business or just even running your own business and leading yourself, has so much to do with the language that we use to talk to ourselves and how we feel about ourselves as well. I think some of the things I didn't realize was I didn't feel worthy to build a big business, or I didn't feel worthy to, impact people. I didn't feel worthy to, share my artistic gifts or even finish my artistic gifts. So what was happening was I was self-sabotaging all of these really beautiful opportunities because subconsciously my body was still programmed from my trauma, right? And so, the healthy expression of service is where, my words and my actions align with who I can see myself being in the world, right? And if I can align with who I can see myself being in the world and that person that I desire to be, then imagine how that will ripple out into the world. Imagine how that will also influence others. And one thing that I do when I walk into, hi Diamond, One thing that I do when I walk into any situation is I simply say a prayer and I ask Spirit how I can be of service in this moment. I'm asking myself the same question now. I'm asking Spirit, hey, Spirit, show me how I can be of service in this moment. And all of a sudden, the, oh, all of a sudden, the, the selfish brain really turns off, the fearful brain really turns off, and I can be present because it's not about me anymore. It's about who I can see myself being in a way that allows others to open to new possibilities or have a new experience around me. Um, that to me is one example of healthy service. And also, really, I feel like Laura's going to take it over from now. Laura's going to carry it out. Well, Diamond
Is that
is
just a
making
feeling
noises
now?
over here. Yeah.
I love what you shared about the way that we treat ourselves is the way that we treat others. And that was big for me because I remember even like hearing the language that people used to speak. And they seemed so loving and so compassionate and so caring. And then as I went along this journey, I was like, oh my gosh, I speak to myself so hard and I'm so hard on myself. And then as soon as I started pivoting that and shifting that, then my language outwardly started changing too. And I was like, and then what happened? I was able to hold space for people and be present with people, and they felt safe and they felt loved and they felt heard because I knew how to do that for myself. Right. And it's a very weird kind of like paradigm of this, like, in order to make greater contribution outwardly, we actually have to learn how to do it within our own selves. And sometimes you hear it being called like reparenting or learning how to parent yourself or hold your inner child within you. I know Julia put up that beautiful post yesterday and somebody had commented that in the comments that like the picture just her and her inner child there. And we all have this inner child that sometimes gets scared or sometimes needs things. And it's up to us to be able to, like Julia said, tune into what those needs actually are so that we can provide them to ourselves so that we then come from that full place and then we can then share that gift outwards. So I just love how everything you shared just kind of is huge, a huge kind of piece for me, definitely when it comes to what service is, opposed to the old way of just constantly doing for others and then feeling depleted and burnt out and exhausted and then end up hurting the people around me instead of actually loving them, which was my intention all along.
Yeah, because we all have a big intention to love bigger and to express ourselves bigger. Does anyone have any questions for us? We're gonna hop off in a couple minutes here, but if you have any, Diamond, if you have any questions, please put them in now, and we will do our best to answer.
Mhm. I think even like a little example I'd like to share with this because I feel like it relates to everybody is social media and like texting and tech because it's a piece that's like so prevalent in our lives right now and it's so accessible and people are so accessible that sometimes we feel like people should be accessible at all times, right? Even when it comes to friends or family or whatever, when it says it's sometimes when we're in that kind of place of urgency within ourselves, then we can sometimes expect that urgency from other people as well. And then it can create that. So being able to just like, when you need that space, like not even looking at your phone. Like I know Julie and I did that this morning where it was like, okay, we're going to take the day up until our live off of tech so that we can really just be with ourselves and do that. Because I know I used to feel bad as well. Like if I didn't get back to people within a certain amount of time or whatever. Now it's like sometimes days. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I just have other stuff to do that's a higher priority. So I think too, like prioritization of those needs as well as a huge thing and just being able to be like, what is most important to me? And like, how is it that I see that I can manage all of this, but doing it in a way that actually feels good to me? And then trusting that that will unfold on the other side as it's meant to as well.
Beautiful, Brian. Great question. Great question. He said, "How do we create that space for ourselves?" And I love what Laura shared. It really is to ask yourself what you see you need in order to come back to center or come back to balance or to feel more aligned. For me, for example, I love to wake up in the morning and I'll do 20 to 30 minutes of writing. I'll do 20 to 30 minutes of movement, and then I'll do, some prayer and meditation in there as well. That morning routine is so key, like so, so key. And then it really is that commitment to going deeper into ourselves. So if for example, I'm noticing that I feel stuck, or I'm noticing that I really want to reach that new level and I just feel like I haven't really got there yet, it really is about asking for help and asking for support and asking for mentorship with the right people that you know are going to help you cultivate the right habits, the right emotional tools, the right support networks that are going to help you bloom in the way that you would like to bloom. Because I know for me, I only knew one way to live, and it wasn't really the healthiest way to live. And I'm still learning. I'm still open to learning. I'm always open to learning. So if it means, picking up a book, or, really taking time to unplug, turning my phone off for a couple of days and just tuning in, if it means, taking that 20, 30 minutes to meditate, it's about us knowing that we're worthy of that time and deciding that there's nothing more important than this, because I know that without it, I know my patterns. If I don't prioritize this and I don't ask for help and support and I don't, do my morning routine, I was talking to someone yesterday, we can't afford that, because then what happens?
Mhm.
Then we feel stuck, or we don't feel at peace, and we're operating from this anxious place in our bodies that's not grounded. And that's how we rush through things, and we, you know, maybe make decisions that we later regret. But our intuition is there all along, and it's constantly talking to us and telling us things. And so, that's kind of one of the things that we talk about more in Recover and Rise, is to really understand how to tap into the body's voice so that you can feel in alignment with your intuition and operate from that place. That's a great question. Thank you for bringing that here. I think
Mhm.
that we have to go on to our next call, right, Laura?
We do, yes, right now.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. If you have any other questions, we will answer them in the chat. And Laura, thank you for being here with me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody that was on here live with us. And yeah, any other questions, put them in there and we will get back to you. And we are very, very grateful for you. Keep on rocking. Bye, everyone.